Taking the streetcar here to go pick up some shop disposable parts, you know, rags and whatnot. Needed some miscellaneous items. Love driving this thing. Well, here we are at the auto parts store. Drove an extra distance just to get to O'Reilly's because I prefer O'Reilly's, but got a bunch of junk to get. So what's going on, guys? Back here working on Ragu. I got a bunch of stuff to do today. First thing on the list is I got these two belts. I'm gonna try to figure out what size belt it needs by kind of just spitballing different sizes that the auto parts store carry. We'll just get a bunch of belts and then I'll just return the ones that I don't use and then buy a backup of the one that I do need. Then I'm going to work on power steering stuff, and then I'm gonna work on the handbrake stuff. So today will be a day where it's pretty much just me working, a bunch of time lapses, a lot of wrenching. Out of the two belts that I got, this one pretty much is perfect. The tensioner is like right at the right spot, right? Not in the center, a little more on the tighter side, so it will stretch a little bit. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that kind of spitball random guess. I put an old belt around it, saw how much longer it needed to be, and then just kind of guessed from there. But yeah, that should work. Plenty of belt tension around everything. This water pump has a good amount. The alternator has a good amount. The balancer has a good amount, so be good to go. So in this box, I have something really cool and I'm really excited to play around with. It is an electric power steering pump. This thing comes out of a Volvo, and they don't run off of a serpentine belt like most power steering pumps. This one, you just give it power, you give it a trigger wire, and it turns on. And they're supposed to be really awesome. I've seen a lot of people use them. I've never personally driven a car with one, but if it works just like power steering and it can handle high RPM, obviously it can because it doesn't run off the serpentine belt like a stock LS one that don't really like that high RPM hanging there. We'll be in business with this. This was actually sent in by a viewer at his company that he works at is CNC Motorsports. Pretty awesome that he reached out to me and had this laying around. He sent me a video, works great. It has the power wire, it has all that good stuff. I'm gonna have to make some custom mounting brackets for it, but I'm really excited for this. This is gonna be really cool. It's even got a couple fittings on there. This is gonna be awesome. Probably gonna put it somewhere like right over here, right by the alternator. Make sure the motor's in the right spot type of deal. But yeah, it should fit good. I already checked, the wheels don't really hit this spot. They don't turn enough. So perfect. I'm gonna mount up all the front ends so I know nothing interferes with it. There's really not that much room in the engine bay for something this massive, but I'm gonna put these two square pieces of steel right here on the frame rail, just weld them in, and then I'm gonna put some nut-certs on top of them, and then I'll just mount it right to that. It's got 3 spots to mount it, but I think 2 will hold fine, and if it does break, you know, we'll reevaluate, but I think the 2 should hold just fine. So I just made these little guys. Not anything crazy. Just welded them together so that I have a little plate on top so that I could put a nut or a nut-cert into it and then use that to hold down my power steering pump. So I'm gonna let those cool down. I'm gonna get the nut-cert stuff ready, drill a hole in them, put some nut-certs, we'll be off. So that's how it's gonna be mounted up. It's gonna just clear the alternator down there. And then all these lines will go over here on the frame rail, kind of behind there. You can't really see the fittings, but they're back there. It'll go to those fittings. It'll be easy to access, easy to fill. should maybe clear a hood. It's gonna be tight. Time to finish weld it, paint those so that they don't rust, and then move on to the next step on this here build. Definitely not the prettiest welds I've ever laid down, but I'll show you guys anyways. It's a very tough spot to get into, you can tell, but they'll definitely hold. I added some little triangle pieces on each side just to give it a little more structure. Gonna paint it, make it look blue, and then mount up the power steering pump. All right, so power steering pump is mounted. The motor has no trans, so it'll kind of sit like that angle. There is some room there for it to move, but the motor shouldn't move much, and I could probably grind off that ear off the alternator. It's not the prettiest in the world, but it'll definitely hold it nice. Once I clean it up and paint it, it'll look a lot better. But it's kind of funny because the power steering pump is similar location to a stock one. So that thing's mounted up. Time to step into something else. I think it's handbrake time. So next on my list for today is the handbrake. And everything that I need for the handbrake should be right in this box. Let's see. Brake lines. Well, it's got a good amount of boxes so far. These are for the second rear calipers in the back. Nice. Mounting brackets for the calipers. It's obviously its own standalone handbrake. It doesn't use the stock brakes like a lot of kits do. A lot of kits are just feed brake fluid to the stock rear brakes, which is kind of weird because you can't left foot brake as well, and I'd like to be able to left foot brake. Until I get seats, I can't really tell where I want this, but I can run all the lines and get it mocked up, and then once I put my seat in, finish the install. All right, well, I'm gonna get to work on these rear brakes. The whole team is here.
I got one dog on my lap.
Yep. Oh wait, we're actually missing Henry. Millie, come here. Come here. Hey. Hi. 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 They're here to help. Luna, are you here to help? I don't think Millie's very much help in these situations, unless you need a...
She just eats everything on the floor.
I was gonna say, unless you need a zip tie eaten, then she's your girl. Got the whole team helping today.
I got my work boots on.
Got the work boots on.
Woo.
Shop attire. So I ran into a little problem here where the brake caliper doesn't actually fit over the brake rotor, because I think whatever 5-lug setup this car has on it, the rotors are a little different than the original ones. But I'll have to head to an auto parts store tomorrow with this and the rotor and kind of hope that I can piece something together, or maybe go somewhere and get them cut. It's very close to fitting. It just it doesn't. It's so close. It's not close enough to where I could shave down the pad, or else I would have, because it still doesn't fit in the actual like brake housing. Like you see how it has, see how it's like that? Yeah, it still would not fit. So I'm gonna have to go out, get some brake rotors tomorrow. Hopefully find the right ones. Maybe find somebody that'll just cut them down. It's not, I mean, it's not common to find people that cut rotors still, but maybe I can just get them cut. So I dealt with that problem after messing with the side for a little while. So I switched to running the brake lines. I started kind of mapping out where I want these brake lines to go. They're nice banjo fittings and they tuck everything in really nicely versus the stock stuff. I got this guy running back here all the way to the back. I ran it up this instead of just running it up the side of me, because I figured over by the cage would be a little cleaner of a look. You wouldn't really see it as much. Started running the front ones. This one obviously is the rear one. Still trying to figure out which ones go where, because they're all kind of different length and some only work in some spots and it's not really labeled, so you kind of just have to try your best. And obviously an LS motor is not meant for this car, so obviously they're not designed for an LS, but working through that, kind of trying to figure out where I want the handbrake to be. Once I have a seat, I can actually mount it. But that's all for tonight, guys. I feel pretty accomplished. Got that power steering pump mounted up. Power steering pump's gonna be really cool, really fun to use. Need to order a couple fittings to make that work, to finish it up. Just a couple AN fittings and make a couple lines. And I'm ordering up the transmission so I can get that in. And once I have the trans in, I can really finish up the wiring. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. Well, a little update on the brake setup that I got here. So it does not work because I have the Z32 brakes, the big brake upgrade that people do on these cars. I have it in the front, but I just didn't realize that it was in the back. I called a friend. I called in the jack stand, Jimmy. He is a self-proclaimed 240, I think he used the word fanboy, something like that. But big 240 guy, so I called him up and he kind of explained to me what I need to do. And so the best option will probably be to just get stock brakes in the back. There'll be plenty for what I'm doing. It's not a road course car, it's just gonna be drifting. So just gonna do some rear brakes in the back. Get all brand new stuff from whatever auto parts store has everything. So that'll be nice. I'm gonna get that stuff all hopefully tomorrow. Get all these brakes on and then finally have brakes all around. Just wanted to update you guys on that for some of you guys that kind of kept watching after the outro. Thanks for watching.